I remember this street from the first game. The jackal keeps my arm around his the entire time, and I speculate that it's some sort of Khemian ritual before sexual intercourse, and I begin taking mental notes. Meanwhile, I enjoy the feel of his thick bicep flexing slightly under the incredibly short fur, practically just black velvet covering his defined muscles. I quickly forget about the other possibly hostile pedestrians as we get closer to the dens. They're not looking at me, anyway. I'm annoyed at myself for still feeling nervous, and also feeling a bit taken by this jackal. The entrance is a shabby side door where Nefru signs in and pays, ignoring the stairs with ease, and I find myself becoming a bit annoyed with the other wolves, breaking den etiquette just because he's a Khemian. I suppose I shouldn't expect anything different from those in the Clay District. Then we're led down a narrow hall and into the room Nefru rented. The lines are dimmed low, and Nefru fumbles with a switch while I go to sit on the bed. That expression is amazing. As the artificial complovium above us glows more brightly, I can tell it's one of the most expensive rooms in the establishment. Still a bit cramped, slightly tacky, but pleasant and far more luxurious than any den room I've been in. I wonder if the lighted, expansive ceiling is what Nefru comes here for, considering how large and convincing it is, despite the room being completely closed off from the outside. Still, dens are mainly frequented by students on their third warning for fornicating on campus. I still live on campus, and so I technically must follow those rules, but I know Nefru lives in the Imperial District, where he likely lives in a fairly nice place. And if there was a reason Nefru doesn't want to go to his living quarters, there are, I assume, higher quality dens in that district. But Nefru is paying, and I'm not about to be rude and question him now. I assume you're familiar with this type of place? I glance at him and he smiles toothily. I realize then how brazenly he's posed himself, having already dropped his Khemian garb, now in just his underwear. I note that his undergarments are woven, likely having had to make the switch after being here for over 3 years now. Swallowing hard, I stare, taking all of it in, feeling more nervous by the second. Sexual intercourse of any kind is forbidden on the grounds of Varro's University, so yes, I've been to a few. Nefru whirls his eyes, grabbing a bottle of the complimentary wine. And so is masturbation, I've heard. And here I thought wolves were sexually liberated. Well, we are, it just happens to be the leading university on the moon, and the philosophy of the school does not include carnal thoughts. I find myself talking too much and trail off as Nefru leans casually against the armrest, drinking straight from the bottle. I attended the best university in the Galaxias, and there were rooms dedicated to the act on campus. I bristle just slightly at the dig on my school, even if it's true that most every famous school on Khemia is superior. After that comment, though, I decide to try out some Khemian bluntness, about to ask why he's brought me here instead of his own place. Either way, why come to a den when... But then he walks up to me, right up close to me, to the point I feel my nose is going to bump to the mound of his undergarments. Anyway, to celebrate your promotion, I thought I'd help you with your research on Khemians. Have you ever copulated with one? I don't know how I feel about having to put a sex scene right in the first build of this game. Adastra waited a long time to put a sex scene in the game. And it wasn't even with the main character. It was with this character. But okay, if we're doing this... My throat is suddenly very dry as I shake my head, even though I know he knows the answer to that. Well? Jackal stands up straighter, putting his physique on display. Just as I had felt earlier, his fur is much shorter compared to mine, giving him the advantage of being able to show off his muscles on his chest and stomach. He then grabs his undergarments and slides them down. The jackal is moving boldly in a way that makes me wonder if he's trying to make it less strange for me, seeing Khemian anatomy in person for the first time. Although I know what to expect, I'm still left staring in fascination. While very different from my own, it fits well on his frame. And as he moves closer, I find myself reaching out, sliding my paws up his thighs, then back around to cup his rear. This is the moment that my hesitation drops, and I pull the jackal in close, kissing his... Yeah, okay, yep. I can't describe this on YouTube. I just can't. To just describe it is against the terms of service. I will summarize it after it's done. If you want to play the scene for yourself, the game is free and linked in the description down below. You can support it financially if you so choose. I will see you right after this jump cut. Sorry, folks. Not my fault. It's YouTube's fault. See you in a second. Holy shit. Well, they actually cut it. They don't... Is it a setting? Damn, it actually just cuts it. Never mind. Holy shit. The line is kissing his bare privates and abdomen, making him gasp, and then it just fades away. It doesn't have a scene. Huh. Well, look at you. That barely does any... I can keep that in. YouTube isn't gonna get after me for that. I'll still keep in the bit where I say that you can find it in the description because it's true. And hey, you could always use a good plug for the game. But yeah, damn. They were restraining of it. Huh. Anyway, it's a long session of sorts, though not very much happens, as Nefer seems to simply enjoy touching me. At first, I'm a bit confused, unsure if this is some type of foreplay. Then I realize he's encouraging me to explore and touch back, and at some point, we simply end up entangled together, lying there. His arms are around me tightly, and I can smell the wine on his breath. Maybe it's a bit rude, but all this makes me genuinely wonder if he's lonely. As our movements ease to his stillness, I reach back to rest a paw on his shoulder, just in case he needs reassurance, and then I slowly fall asleep. I wake up, and what happens in the following moments is something that my mind is never fully able to process. Oh, is this... Did they keep in the fucking nightmare? The door to our den is open, and I wonder why, because it should have been locked. Is Neferu... As I reach for my glasses, I realize he's sleeping next to me, but that's when a large, dark figure stands up beside our bed. A wolf who I don't know, his scent simply telling me he's a stranger and a male. There's something in his paw, and for a moment I try to yell, but nothing happens. The dark, blocky shape of his head turns in my direction, noticing me awake, and my insides turn to water. He moves, and then there's a harsh, ear-splitting crack before my eyes. I see the man, the sapient, bend and warp in the shape of a wave before blasting apart. I'm splattered by wetness, by smells and feelings I haven't felt since... Damn. I remember the CG from the first version of this. This is like a remake of that CG, but more effective of the horror of it. A light goes on, floating around us, displaying the horror. What the hell happened, Calm? Neferu is moving around beside me, but I can't move. I smell this person all over me. I'm covered covered and I'm tasting his blood, viscera, and more in my muzzle. An assassination was attempted on the lives of Neferu and Scipio. Separatist connections are suspected. Amicus has been notified. The drone's small, built-in speaker makes Com's voice sound harsh, and as its lights turn to illuminate the wall, I see everything. No. Target fully neutralized. Bodily state is incompatible with life. No. Skip. I grasp at my mane. I feel them pulling at it. They're gonna pull me back on the street. What? Neferu finally focuses on me after fumbling around for the lights. I need to... I can't breathe. I roll off the bed, feeling the blood in soft, fleshy masses in my fur as I try to crawl under the bed, but I find no space. I crawl behind the sofa, still covering my mane, avoiding the blood in the streets, avoiding the men with bricks torn from the university. I avoid looking at one of my old professors in rhetoric as he gets his head smashed in with one of those bricks. The men taunting him, asking him if those fancy words can save him now. I cover my eyes, waiting. Someone, Neferu, touches my shoulder. It's like I'm in two times and places at once, but the touch, it begins to ground me. Still, I cover my mane and tremble like I'm finally able to bring the present back to focus. One that's not much better than the past. I look up and see Neferu staring at me. He's seen it. He sees what's wrong with me. I'm certain I'm not going back to Khemia anymore. What follows is a patchy, blurry mess that my memory is never able to put together. It's like during my first years of university, getting far too inebriated at the bar only to wake up with a raging headache and the hope that I didn't do anything too awful the night before. But there's no joy in this feeling of inebriation, just numbness. There are a few things I'm able to remember, though I'm unsure if it's real or imagined. Wolves come into the room, and I don't know if they're from the establishment or if they're Imperial officials. More drones follow. I know these are from the palace because only the Imperial family owns drones. Then I'm on a small ship. All the while I'm trembling and I can't stop despite not feeling cold or really any distinct emotion at all. Neferu tries to speak to me every now and then, but seems to give up only after I only offer one-worded answers. I thought I was done with this. But it's just like the first night after it happened. Like it's never left me. I'm still broken. Then I'm being ushered out of the ship by Neferu. Com is talking to us, but I'm not paying attention to him. It's like my mind is crowded with too many thoughts, yet I'm not thinking of anything. Or at least I'm not trying to think of anything. I'm vaguely aware of the fact that Neferu has been cleaning my fur on the way here, yet the smell is still all over me. I've heard that jackals have a weaker sense of smell, or at least not as sensitive as that of a wolf, but now I'm focusing on the smell. I keel over and retch violently. Okay, that broke me out of it. Fuck. Okay. This broke me out of it. Okay, let's give me a fucking second here. I referred to it as a nightmare a few minutes ago. I thought it was a nightmare. God damn. An assassination attempt? Holy shit. Oh my God. Fucking this goofy ass stance. Oh, Jesus Christ. That was a lot. I'm jerked to the side, and at first I think Nefer is pushing me away. I wouldn't fault him for it. Also, this fucking redo of the sprite of them at the palace is nostalgic as fuck. Anyway, but instead he's positioned me over the bushes to be sticking to them instead of on the path. Not much comes up, just the wine from earlier, and it burns worse than I remember from my younger years. Damn, that almost looks like a rework of a Cassius expression. All the while, Neferu is holding back my mane, just like my schoolmates might have done in those days. Before the riots, anyway. Those events seem to knock the innocence and wonder of being a university right out of us. Amicus insists that you meet him in the palace. Gods, tell him we're on our way! Skip is unwell! No, don't tell him that. I am fine. I straighten up purposefully, taking a deep breath, only to breathe in the scent of the assassin. He filters through my nostrils as fresh as when he first splattered through our room. Again, I give a great retch, but I'm empty and nothing comes up this time. Skip, what's wrong? Were you injured? Are you sick? Yes, that's it. Yes, I'm physically ill. I steady my feet again and straighten up my posture, setting off in the direction of the palace while Neferu follows along, his paw on my back. I shrug him off, not wanting to appear as if I need steadying, like I'm some woman about to faint. I was feeling off earlier in the evening, and I suppose it's developed further. I'm feeling better, though. I'm regaining my composure. I begin my breathing exercises, the ones that usually steady my pause and racing thoughts. Still, even as I slow my breathing, my vision continues to blacken at the edges and ebbs and flows, a constant threat that I might lose consciousness. That is the one thing I cannot do right now, not in front of the men who are in charge of this mission. Too much depends on this. Somehow, over the course of 20 paces, I'm able to focus my mind and recompose my outward demeanor, all by blocking out what had just happened. I've worked my way up and up to this position for far too long. I will not fall now, will not let the heights I've reached be used against me. Still, I know what I'm doing isn't going to help tomorrow, or the next day, or the next, but that's unimportant right now. Come on. Amicus is waiting. I don't look at him, but I can tell Neferu is staring at me as he follows along my side, and I can tell he wants to ask further questions. Of course he does, but thank the gods he keeps silent as we turn to walk through the archway and into the palace. Wow, it looks nice in here. I've only been inside the palace twice. The first time was 2 years ago, when with the 2 other assistants in training, when Amicus interviewed the 3 of us before sending us back to the university. The last time was last week, when I'd shown up with those same wolves, only to watch one and then the other be dismissed until I was alone. I need to display the same confidence that I'd felt back then, to simply keep the last hour wiped from my mind. My confidence stride falters when I see Amicus, though, standing right there in the main hallway. His presence was always intimidating. He is the Emperor, after all. Right now, he looks especially imposing because he's angry. What in the hell were you thinking? More than angry, I've seen him angry before. This is fury. But he's not looking at me. In fact, it's as if I'm not even present. His gaze is reserved only for the jackal beside me. This is good, actually. Neferu's smug nature returns, and I have to admit that it impresses me a little bit. Even if he is the pharaoh's son, he is a lone jackal within the palace of an enraged woven emperor. Amicus raises a paw as if to stop the jackal physically. No, Neferu, I'm not playing your stupid games tonight. This goes beyond. The Emperor seems to remember himself and takes a deep breath, though the smoldering fury continues to burn in his eyes. You realize how serious this is? What could have happened? I realize this, yes, I was there. And what the fuck were you doing in the Clay District? I jump, never having heard Amicus shout like that, or curse in such a manner before, for that matter. Carelessly showing your face, no appointments, no protection. Oh, they offer protection there. Neferu's joke falls terribly flat, and Amicus lets it hang there in the air as if to emphasize the stupidity of even saying it. You know, I almost felt guilty assigning a drone to tail you covertly. What if you had been killed? I thought you were at least somewhat sensible. Amicus's muzzle hangs open for a moment, as if trying to search for words appropriate enough to describe his disbelief and anger. Even through my numbed senses, I'm able to feel some shame and embarrassment, not only for myself, but Neferu as well. What had we been thinking? We knew the separatist movement had been gaining a bit more momentum recently, become more radical. We discussed the possibility of things becoming more dangerous. While I might not matter in the grand scheme of this mission, losing Neferu would. Well, it would end the mission. It might even start a war. Well, that's exactly what the separatists want, after all. I suppose I had simply assumed Neferu knew the risks, knew what he was doing, but I hadn't even bothered to ask. I look at him and see that he has his ears back, eyes downcast, though they flick in my direction, instinctively causing me to lower my gaze. Amicus's anger seems to lose its edge, his demeanor shrinking a bit as he waits for Neferu to respond. When the jackal offers nothing, Amicus spreads his paws in a gesture of bewilderment. I mean, you're not some frolicking first-year student needing a private room for fornication, are you? I set you up with the best living quarters in the Imperial District. It's a long walk, and I was tired, Amicus. What? You... Again, the Amerker... The Amerker? Amerker Shmamerker, for God's sake! I've been doing this shit for years at this point. What the fuck is wrong with me? Again, the Emperor is at a loss for words, anger steadily replaced with disbelief, while I silently beg Neferu to just be a little serious. An assessment of the current situation indicates that I have information that may be of use to you, Amicus. What, about the assassin? About Neferu's living accommodations. Oh, shut up, Calm. What is it? The magistrate of the Imperial District ordered for the apartment to be renovated, and thus evicted Neferu. What? I was not notified of this. According to Adastran Code 3304 under Housing, Magistrate Anthony was fully within his rights to do so without notifying you, Amicus. Then where the hell have you been living, Neferu? The jackal opens his mouth, but is interrupted by Calm once again. He has been renting various temporary living spaces, mainly within the Silk and Clay districts. I have logged the addresses of each location if you would like to— Shut the hell up for once, Calm! The point has been made. If all you do is spy, then you should learn to read a room. That word again. Read a room does not compute, Neferu. We know, Calm. Neferu, why did you not tell me of this? I'm curious at what point Neferu stopped living in the palace, and why. Amicus looks less angry now and more confused. Neferu sighs. You are the Emperor of Adastra. You have You have larger issues to worry about than me getting kicked out of my place of residence because of woven spite. Not if it endangers your life. If the Pharaoh or even the Vizier knew of your slinking around the worst district of Adastra City, all of our efforts over the past 4 years could be ended within seconds. Why are you so sure of that? You seem to think they care about me. I said, none of your games tonight. I know your relationship with your father is a poor one, but frankly, that matters little to me. What does matter is the optics. Imagine the son of the Khemian pharaoh being murdered on the poorest streets of Adastra. Imagine it! Like it or not, you are my responsibility while you are here, as you are a diplomatic guest. So my inability to at the very least keep you alive would demand an answer from Khemia and set back all of our work by years, if not generations. That finally seems to get through to the jackal, and he does not respond this time. A very uncomfortable silence follows. Then the jackal bows with a quick duck of his head. You are right, Amicus. I suppose I have become too comfortable on this moon. I apologize for my negligence. Neferu then turns to me. And I apologize to you, CPO. I had no intention of endangering your mission, but more importantly, your life. For whatever reason, the possibility didn't even cross my mind. Forgive me. He catches me a bit off guard, but I manage to keep my composure. You have my forgiveness, Neferu. Then realizing Amicus's eyes are now on me, I quickly turn to him. I am adjusting and learning about this new position I am still in. Still, I should have known such actions were reckless. I am sorry, my Emperor. I kneel before Amicus, holding my breath, at the same time hearing Neferu exhale, a gentle sigh as if seeing me do such a thing bothers him. I don't care, though. This is the moment to prepare myself for a dismissal from both the palace and my position. Neferu's paw comes to rest on my shoulder in a somewhat supportive way. Amicus rubs his face with a paw tiredly, sighing loudly. Get up, CPO. If anyone is kneeling, it should be Neferu. Amicus glares back at the jackal as I get to my feet, swaying slightly, dizzy for some reason. Just be thankful that Virginia is not aware of this. Amicus, you should know that a report on the incident has been filed for Virginia upon her awakening. Delete that, Com! Deleting report on the assassination attempt upon the lives of Neferu and CPO for Virginia. Gods, I have such a mess to clean up now. Who else knows of what happened? The owner of the establishment and possibly a few housekeepers. And anyone who saw it from their windows? Like, it was a loud thing. And you weren't exactly subtle getting out of there. Com, guard the entrance to that den. Ensure that no one leaves the premises until I arrive. Oh, the arrival of the Emperor won't be fucking going unnoticed at all, I'm sure. Amicus walks past us, and I can hear the deep rumble of a stifled growl in his throat before he calls over his shoulder. Neferu, you are to take up residence in the palace once more. I'll have your belongings moved here from wherever the hell you're staying now. Oh, wonderful. Why the fuck is the Emperor going to a place riddled with separatists? Like, that's way more risky than if Neferu was there. In fact, Com, alert Veterus and Brunus that they will both be moving residence behind the palace walls first thing in the morning. We cannot afford mistakes at this point. Yes, Amicus. And where shall I bed for the night, Amicus? Amicus is almost past the archway. Same room as last time. It should be the same as you left it.
Oh, really? I thought that room was for the Emperor.
But Amicus disappears around the corner, a small parade of drones following him. Neferu goes quiet, sighing deeply. That's a good point. A good point. I thought that room was for the Emperor, but I guess Amicus probably just kept his same room, a much less grand room, but Amicus never was the grandiose type. And then he rubs the back of his neck, glancing at me. Does this mean I take the sofa? I gesture at one of the velvet couches, only partially joking as I'm not sure where I'm supposed to stay. Still, I'm relieved I'm such an afterthought in Amicus's mind, at least for now.
If you'd like. I don't think I've ever seen anyone use them. I believe, however, that Amicus was implying that we share the room.
What makes you believe that?
There are 2 beds in that room, if it has stayed the way I remember.
I see. So maybe I'm not such an afterthought. Wonder if Amicus still has our relationship in mind, even though such things seem much less important to me right now. I think about my small room on campus, the one I had been moved to 2 years ago, the place that I desperately wish to be right now. Being in a private room amongst the faculty, I don't have to mingle with the students in the dorms, not that I would have to anyway, considering it's mostly empty for the summer. But while I'd like to be alone, I'm not so sure if there's security there robust enough to deal with assassination attempts. And I don't know if Amicus has a drone tailing me as well. Probably not.
So, do you wish to speak about what happened, or...
In all honesty, I wish to have a long bath. I'm becoming aware of the smell again, and now that I'm no longer distracted by the Emperor,
I'll take that as a no. Follow me.
I frown a bit as I follow the jackal. Why would he just expect me to open up? Then I remind myself he's a Khemian, and I should be adapting to what they expect from a friendship. It's just that I'd rather my issues not be the topic he's so interested in. We walk in silence through the marble halls, and soon cross into sections I'm not familiar with. The last time I visited the palace, I'd been a bit too preoccupied to really take in my surroundings. Now I'm able to see it's rather empty, almost utilitarian in its design. One would think the halls to be embroidered with gold and encrusted with precious stones if they only listened to the rumors spread by the lower classes. We come to stop at what appears to be a door without a handle, and Neferu automatically raises a paw to a black square, which sends the door sliding open at a startling speed. Now that is a bit fanciful, I have to admit. The baths, the baths. What's even more fanciful is a giant bath, the same size as the public one at the university, maybe even bigger. The university's bath is almost always filled with dozens of men, but this one is completely empty. Instead of the sulfuric smell I'm used to, I'm instead hit with a warm, steamy wall of floral scents.
Help yourself. Drones will clean up after you.
I step in hesitantly, then notice Neferu hanging back. Don't you need to wash it as well?
There's a personal bath in the room. Besides that, I feel you need a more...
Neferu makes vague waving motions with his paws.
Wide open space to ease your mind. What you experienced was a terrible thing, and I know that it has affected you.
I bristle. For that moment, yes, but I've had time to collect myself. The tilted fucking wrist.
Well, take the time to collect yourself further. When you're finished, ask for directions to where I am. Calm will direct you.
Neferu steps out, leaving me frowning once again at his abrupt nature. Or is it just rudeness? I had used a firm tone, but only to hint that I didn't want to talk about it. My wolven friends would have understood. I find myself agreeing more with what Veterus had said about casual betrayals and the possibility that this casual friendship will be more difficult to maintain than that word would indicate. I have to admit, the more I get to know him, the more odd he seems. Maybe I misjudged our relationship and Neferu himself, but I can't worry about that now. He's under stress as well, possibly more than me, so I'll ignore it for now. Not to mention slightly drunk, having forgotten about the wine he drank earlier. Still, the more I think of it, the more upset I become, especially after going through something terrible that was essentially due to his negligence. I begin undressing, deciding to be faster with my own tongue. What? Deciding to be faster with my own tongue when I speak to him in the future. What the hell? I guess... What? Does he mean talking? What? Neferu thinks himself to be more clever than he really is. That much is clear about him. Maybe next time I'll show him that it's not difficult to speak fast while also being rude. Not for me, anyway. I simply yield to higher authority. And being an assistant to the scholar on the mission, well, that means I yield to almost everyone here. Neferu, however, insists we speak as equals. And if most of my assignment involves needing to learn more about him, then I must do that. I suck air through my teeth as I slip into the water, a bit surprised at how much hotter it is than the university bath. I usually lower myself slowly, but it's painful enough that as my groin nears the steaming water, I just drop in all at once. I groan in equal parts pain and pleasure before dunking my head into the scented water. I come back up, tasting the salty minerals, leaving me to wonder how they've kept the smell so pleasant. Maybe it's completely artificial. Maybe it's Maybelline. A far cry from the natural springs back in Lux, but I don't mind. I'm already feeling better, shivering down my spine a few times as I imagine the remnants of the night washing off and floating away from my body. I submerge myself a few more times before finally settling back, sighing deeply. I'm finally able to relax, almost aching from the tension of having such important eyes on me the entire day. And from the terror of the past hour, the reminder making my chest feel hollow and my head feel light. Has it only been that long? So far, Neferu hasn't shown any indication that he intends to tell anyone else about how he saw me react. Still, that frosty look on his face when he left me just now. Though I had been reluctant to share my experience with the jackal, I now think it would be wise to open up to him a bit. He'd seen my reaction and questioned it, and seemed offended by my unwillingness to share. I decided to try to achieve some understanding, just in case he goes elsewhere for answers. During the psychological portion of the vetting process for my position, I'd almost crumbled multiple times. I doubt I'd be able to do it again in my current state. Then maybe they chose the wrong wolf. It will be difficult confessing my mental weakness to someone that isn't my mindfulness teacher or my mother. My eyes fly open as I realize I've forgotten to send my daily message to her. Damn it, calm? Yes, Scipio. Do you have a portal here that I can use? I'm sorry, but I cannot allow you to use technology reserved for the Imperial family, I sigh, wondering if I'll have to ask Neferu to borrow his. However, your personal portal is due to arrive within a minute, along with the rest of your belongings. Would you like me to send it to you in the baths? Yes, please. I quickly stand to soap up, scrubbing, and then rinsing my fur, careful to really get the spots that felt hard and bristled. I dry my fur in a hurry, and as I'm dressing, a tiny drone floats down from an opening in the ceiling, balancing a silver rod about the length of my forearm on its top. I pluck my portal from the floating machine in a delicate manner, now very aware of what they're capable of in combat. Thank you. I mumble quietly. Oh, sorry. Thank you. I mumble quietly, but it immediately floats away back to its ceiling hatch. I quickly tap it to extend the transparent glowing panel from the rod. I feel my heart leap in my chest when I see that I have a message waiting for me from Mother. I'd hoped that maybe she hadn't been up yet, even though Lux is several hours ahead of Adastra, and she's always up before Vita rises. Or Vita rises, I don't know. The PlayStation Vita rises. I open it and read the small message. Skippy, I hope you're doing well. Did you fall asleep early? I imagine they must be working you quite hard. Please respond when you can. All my love. Mother. It was sent around the time I'd been asleep before it happened. What if I hadn't survived and never sent her a final message because of my forgetfulness? I start to type a message back, a quick one, but then I notice the icon in the corner. Visual communication is what truly makes this device a portal. We only use it once weekly, but that day is 2 days away, and because I miss sending my message on time, and because I miss Mother, I push the icon resembling an arrowhead, as if pointing in the direction of where she is, thousands of kilometers away. Even space uses the metric system, for God's sake. She answers within seconds, and at first all I see is white fabric, then a bracelet, then my mother's face. Skip! Are you all right? You fell asleep, didn't you? You fell asleep, didn't you? She doesn't sound too worried or upset, but her chiding voice makes it difficult to speak for some reason. If I were to be completely honest, I'd give up on my mission just to be with her again, to be in the warmth of our villa with the smell of oliban thick in the air. Scipio, you're all right, aren't you? Have you just had a bath? Your mane is sticking up all over. I wish there were actual portals. I'd reach through and fix it right now. The fortress inside my mind that I had thought I'd rebuilt comes crumbling down. I open my mouth, but all that comes out is a sob as tears well up and soak into my fur on my cheeks. Damn. Wow, that's heavy, man. That's heavy.
That's some heavy shit.
When I arrive at Neferu's room, I find him already asleep on the bed. It's certainly much more exotic than the rest of the palace, but it being the Emperor's room, that makes sense. I see a few crates stacked in one corner of the room, which I assume to be our belongings. I'm too tired to look through them now, however, and find myself slumping into the smaller bed. Even if it is smaller, it's quite a bit more comfortable than any bed I've slept on. Within less than a minute, the babbling fountain behind me lulls me into a deep sleep. Well, nice seeing you, familiar CG, or background art. The dreams that follow are intense, long, and vivid. I watch as the assassin raises his knife, and this time I can see his face, grinning with delight. He's got a glassy look in his eyes, his expression looking almost fake, and I get the unnerving feeling that he's not alive, even now. But then I see the drone just behind him, and I realize the angle. Before I can yell to warn it that I am in its path, it fires. Whoa! Whoa! Jesus, hold on. Let's get a look at this. What the fuck is that in the background? Holy shit. Oh my god. At first I feel the wave. I feel the wave, man. The warping of space. Now that I know a lot of the dialogue has been recycled when it hasn't been reworked, I wonder how many of the same jokes and shit I said from the original recording. I feel the wave, as you do, the warping of space that ripples through my mortal flesh. Nothing I've experienced in my life could have prepared me for the pain. I wonder how it's possible to feel so much pain for so long, even though it seemed instantaneous when it happened to the other wolf. I've been killed with him this time, and a terror grips me, not of the pain, but of death. Bless you, Spoofy. A whisper of 1,000 dead leaves rattles around me. As you should be. Death is a terrible, terrible thing. Ah, look at this skull right here. Look at this skull. Bless you, Spoofy. Sneezy boy. You're screaming. But it can't be me as I die and feel... Bless you! Gesundheit, Spoofy. You sneezy boy. You sneezy boy. You so sneezy. Are you okay? Do you have the flu? Do you have a cold, Spoofy? Are you sneezy because you are a sicky boy? Are you sicky? Oh, let me kiss you good. Let me kiss you. Don't run away from my love, Spoofy. Do not run from my love, Spoofy. No, Spoofy, no. You're screaming. I hear screaming, but it can't be me, as I die and feel everything rip apart. But the voice must be lying, because death shouldn't be terrible. It should be a release, a calm eternity after the chaos of life. It's okay. I'm going to the amalgamation where we're all meant to be in the end. The fuck is that back there? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is back there, but holy shit. This is okay. This is natural. This is normal. The amalgamation is nothing but an ocean of suffering. Even you know that it's unnatural, CPO. The voice of rattling dried leaves, the one I'd heard in the university earlier, terrifies me to my very core. The worries and doubts I'd harbored for the past decade been warranted? No, CPO. It's far, far worse than that. And somehow, still aware, I feel myself pulled down, down, down. I'm joining the amalgamation, but all I hear is screams, and howls, and cries. This is more like the afterlife that wolves imagined before full parental contact. They had been right. They're suffering, and so am I. The pain, mental and physical, is as fresh as ever. No reprieve, no relief, and now my pain melds with the countless souls around me, our suffering seeming to drown us. I thought the pain of death was bad, but this is a new level. Having to feel the agony of everyone who had come before me. No, my assignment! I can't die now! But I realize I am dead, and that my mission doesn't matter in the least bit right now. If this is forever, then it doesn't matter that I'm at the start. The beginning might as well be the end, because this is eternity. And that thought alone is going to drive me mad. I lose track of time almost immediately, and now I have no idea how long it's been. At least hours. But CPO, it's only been minutes. See how quickly it breaks you. Mother? I beg without a mouth or voice for a comfort, for her to save me, like I am truly a pup. She will join you in due time, CPO. But how will you ever find her amongst the billions? But at least your suffering will become one with hers. No, please, no. Unless... Skull getting closer. Unless... Unless what? Tell me. I'm begging now. I'll do anything at this point. And suddenly I'm rising now as if being pulled from the depths of the deepest sea made of suffocating fire. There are other possibilities. Okay, the rising skull's a little goofy, I'm not gonna lie. There are other possibilities, CPR. Anything but this. We know what you truly want and what you deserve. To become useful, fulfill your duties, and then die naturally, with all the pain dying with you. Holy shit! Okay, that's a little fucking freaky, actually. Of course. Useful. The next voice to come through is a stark contrast to the rattling voices from earlier. Instead, it's high, clear, and female. I'll do my best. CPO, hey, don't listen to that. You'll get answers and help very soon. But right now, you just need to wake up. This is a dream. I've heard the voice before, and I hear a grumbling, like a discontented growl, and I remember her for just a moment. Those two voices I heard on the bench. And then it finally ends. What the fuck was that? Da-da-da. What the fuck was that? Da-da-da. What the fuck was that? Da-da-da. Holy shit, will we get some answers ever? I doubt it. Da-da-da-da.